Last month I had a bad episode of asthma. Yes, I thought I had rid of asthma from my life, but seems like it was not gone. It was 10 years since I had not had a single attack of asthma. The last time I had an attack was in 2009, and I had to be hospitalized because of it. This time, in February of 2020, uh, I started getting wheezing in the middle of the night, and it continued through the night till the morning, and I had to sit up and start. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. And I tried everything I could. I had a few homeopathic medicines which I used to use. And finally, in the morning, I was able to somehow settle myself. Thankfully, because I have been eating raw and clean eating, it was not so bad that I couldn't even, I had to be hospitalized or anything. I took the decision that maybe I can handle it myself. Then my mind started thinking of why this started happening. Maybe there are some emotional reasons behind it, which I am still working on. But the physical reason that I found was that the bedroom that I sleep in had developed some moles. Since the last 2 years, we have been having leakage happening because the exterior of my building has some cracks which has not yet been filled. So during every summer, the water that has seeped into the walls, the plaster of Paris will start bloating up, and the powder will disperse everywhere. And it was just the powder that was causing allergies. And last year, I was aware of it. And in February, when it started getting a bit more drier, I started sleeping outside in the other room. This year, I completely forgot about it, and I ended up manifesting this asthma attack. That's the cause, physical cause. Now I'll talk about a little about how I got myself out of it. So one of the things that I started doing is including in my daily diet a herbal concoction. Since I eat raw, I didn't want to have anything cooked or boiled. But since I was going through the attack, I said I will need to do something about it. So I started boiling water with ginger, tulsi, mint, clove, and some elaichi just for the taste. And I started sipping this multiple times a day. The other herbal concoction that I included was I'm still doing it, is I used one beetroot, added one carrot, and 3 to 4 dates, some thyme, oregano, black pepper, ginger, garlic, and blend it in the mixie, and then added some lemon juice to it. Now this made for a very tasty chutney kind of a thing, which I store in my fridge, and 3 times a day I take 2 teaspoons out, put 1 glass of water in it, and drink it up. It's this tasty red colored drink which doesn't even feel like medicine. Of course, I started making sure that I'm not doing anything which could harm me further. So I stopped sleeping in that room. I started sleeping outside. So physically, when I wanted something to relieve my congestion and my blockage of my nose, I started this this essential oil mix. Initially, I ordered for this mix called Breathe Easy, but it took some time coming, especially given the coronavirus scare. It took some time to deliver. So I made one of my own. I started putting droplets of peppermint, which I had in my house, clove oil, and eucalyptus oil on the top of my lamp. So, you know, these covered lamps that we get with glasses around and a brass top on the top. So I started putting drops of it. And on the top of it, I would put one camphor. So through the night, as I'm sleeping, this would uh, leave out the fumes, unblocking my nostrils. Because what was happening is the allergens in the environment, they were getting into my nose, and my mucous membranes, in order to put them out, were excreting a lot of mucus. And at night, when I'm in the sleeping position, all this mucus is going inside, and when I breathe, it's going right into my lungs, and my lungs were reacting to this mucus, which also had some of the allergen particles, and they were clogging up. And anyway, since I have had a long history of asthma and bronchial problems, my lungs are a little bit compromised. It was much more compromised before. So I have to make sure that I'm putting in a lot of effort. So another thing I realized is that lack of exercise is what made me manifest it even more. So in December, I had a small fall in the house, and thanks to my laziness, I took it as an excuse to not exercise much. Otherwise, I generally climb up the stairs to my 10th floor apartment at least 2 to 3 times a day. But because my knees were hurt, and my elbows were hurt, and my shoulders were hurt, and there was a little bit of swelling, I had to give myself rest. And even when it started healing, I got myself involved in so many stuff and work that I didn't go back to doing the exercise. I was doing my trampoline. It is good enough, but not as good. But when this attack happened, for the entire 15 days, I couldn't do any kind of exercise. But then when my nostrils started opening up, then I started going back to the trampoline and doing a little bit of exercise, and also doing a lot of breath work, like Anulom Vilom, and trying to hold your breath to improve the lung capacity. And then I started slowly going down and walking up the stairs. I was able to walk one flight first. The next day, I tried to make it into two. And within a week's time, I was able to climb 5 flights of stairs before I started getting breathless. I couldn't try more because then the curfew had set in, and I didn't want to really go out there and worry people because of my wheezing and my coughing and my sneezing. That would have been a problem for everyone. And then what I started also, the next medicine that I started is a homeopathic biochemic combination, which is called biochemic combination number 2 for breathlessness. This is more like a supplement. So I started taking it 4 pills 3 times a day for I think a week. Yeah. So this is how I was able to bring myself. Yes, yes. Oh, yes. I forgot about this. The Breathe Easy came in, and it really made breathing very, very easy. And while sleeping, especially, that's when you tend to get an attack. I started putting a droplet of peppermint on my t-shirt, so that when I'm sleeping, the vapors are going into my nostrils and opening up the mucosa there, so it's not blocking the entire airway. So, of course, if you have an issue which is very bad, you need your inhaler, you need to go to the hospital, but also try these on the side so that it aids your recovery. Hope it helps you.